these people become your family. And
Right.
so when you spend so much time together for you guys on set, and you were there from the beginning, which is just so incredible. I mean, it's like if there's a lottery ticket to be had,
Oh my
Brian,
God.
it's that golden Willy Wonka, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory ticket that as an actor, you can only hope that not only are you on a show that is this successful, but with this many great people. I'm sure that, now having a little distance between when you guys were last all together, at least, in terms of filming the show, how much do you appreciate it as time goes on, what you really had?
Oh, I mean, it's crazy. It, it, in some ways, like my life is like there. It's like not like the BC and AD, but it really is.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's like before the off. Because when I start
Yeah.
talking about that time, I'm like, oh my God, that was a lifetime ago. And like for me, it was essentially my 30s, like my entire 30s.
Because
I
it's
was
9
like
years, right? Yeah.
30, 31. What?
Yeah, you're 9 years, right?
Yeah. I mean, 10 years, nine seasons. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was that whole decade. And, the thing that I talk about is that people forget, like Steve Carell became a mega, like the biggest comedy star in movies, but that was, we'd started. And when we started, he really had not done very much, and nobody really had. And a lot of people had worked for a long time and had, some successes, small successes, and a lot of failures. And so we started with a place, we were all sort of at net zero. And the show struggled so much the first couple of years. And, it was like going to our first Emmys together, which was like, we really were the Beverly Hillbillies. I mean, I told this story. Oscar Nunez reminded me, I had this little bungalow house up in the Beverly, what do they call it? Beverly Hills PO, which is the post office box that says 90210, but you're really not in Beverly Hills. Like, it doesn't mean anything. And that was I was the closest house to the Beverly Hilton for the Golden Globes. It was, he was reminding me, it was like, we showed up at the Golden Globes the first time when Steve actually won in a Honda Civic. We pulled up to the front door. Me, David Denman, who played Roy, and Oscar Nunez, and maybe one more. And we were like, where do we park? They're like, you can't park? What are you talking about? There's no parking here. And we were, and like David Denman went and valeted at Trader Vic's or something around at the Starbucks and walked
2-hour limit. Yeah.
You guys
worth
get
the ticket.
Get off, I guess. I mean, but that really was us. It was like and all of those experiences and us going to, being together for such a long time and starting at that net. And then, when the success started happening, it definitely made it that much more rewarding.
The Globes is where everybody gets hammered, right? That's yeah. So you show up in a Honda Civic. I mean, come on. What do you remember? Did you guys just say, let's go for it? This is like our night out.
100%. Well, and this tells you even more was that year, and this was all sort of the turning point of the show, actually, in a lot of ways. This was midway. So it was like January, end of December, which would have been our second season. We were like struggling to stay on the air. And really, we were dead like 4 times before that. We weren't going to go. And then 40-Year-Old Virgin came out. And suddenly right before that, we had the first Christmas episode we did, which was the first time we went above 10 million viewers on a Thursday.
Wow.
Oh, that's kind of a big number. And Steve was nominated for a Golden Globe. The show wasn't nominated. And we watched, this is part of it. We watched the ceremony. We weren't allowed inside. They were like, no, you're not coming inside. The NBC had set up there's all the parties that are going on in different areas of the Golden Globes. And their party was on the roof of the parking garage. This is not a joke. On the outdoor roof of the parking garage, they had set up a tent and there was a party. And we were there and we all drank a lot. like a lot.
Brown, red, purple, blue,
All
all
of
the
it.
colors.
It was all the colors, all of the colors. And he wasn't supposed to win. We thought, this is our one party ever. Let's go.
Go.
And then Steve won. And that night, that's just one of those nights. Like, I didn't even win any. None of us won anything. Steve won, but he showed up afterward and we like tackled him. And I mean, it was a crazy, crazy night. And one of my favorite pictures of us, and you could look it up. There was, and I noticed recently because I told this story to someone, I was reminding someone, I think it was Jenna Fisher on the podcast. I went and looked at the picture and I was like, oh, you can't see it. But they had like the gigantic like chocolate fondue, fountain.
The fountains.
And I, of course, tried some, dripped it right down the shirt. Just all the way right down the shirt. And anyway, there was like I think it's a TV guide, like photo booth thing that they had. And Steve came up, he had won. And it was like, I will never forget that night. And we all crammed. Oh, there was like 20 of us crammed into the little photo booth. And with the chocolate on my thing. But I realized that in the photo, at least I kind of turned. So yeah, I'm like a side view. So you can't actually see.
That's amazing.
What an idiot
you mentioned that was a turning point for you guys. And prior to that, now hard to believe that you were struggling to even stay on air. For you, was there a moment, Brian, where all of a sudden you realize I can't go to the coffee shop, to the restaurant, to like, oh, this thing is big now. I'm here and the Honda Civic is no longer allowed.
I can't drink all the colors in public anymore.
That we'd still do.
Get back in the Honda Civic. Of course, I never would have done that. It was gradual, I think, for us because, early on, we were struggling and truly believed that we would be canceled. There was something that was happening even early on that kind of gave us pause. We didn't talk about it so much, but, this was back, 15 years ago, whatever. And Nielsen ratings, that was the big thing, right?
Yeah.
They're little boxes.
Have you ever met anyone with a Nielsen box? This always plagues me. Who's got the box?
Where's
the box?
Where's the box? Where is this said box?
Yes, that's right. So people say the ratings, this many people are watching. Well, it's really based on some complicated formula of the Nielsen boxes. And your point is exactly right. That we sort of started having some anecdotal evidence like college. And we sort of went, no one in college in a dorm has a Nielsen box. Like no one is sort of calculating that. I think in sports, actually, it works very similarly in a way. Like there's sometimes something becomes kind of culty or everyone's talking about it, but it's not reflected in that way. I think that was kind of starting to happen a little bit.
This is actually a true crimes podcast. We've exposed the Nielsen box ratings. Mystery has been solved. There is no Nielsen box.
That's
cereal.
Right. That's right. But I'll tell you, so it was definitely gradual. And let's be honest, at the very least, I have a distinctive head. Let's just put it that way. And so there were times, actually my favorite story that I have not told in a really long time, but I was shooting a movie with someone afterward, and John Krasinski, my co-star, was in the movie, and Mandy Moore was in the movie. And we were in Canada, and we were shooting at a sushi place. I mean, this is a long time ago, but still, they were John Krasinski, and that was Mandy Moore. And we had like 3 people come up to the table to ask me to take a picture, and they're sitting right there. They're sitting right. It's like no one sees them. So that happens for me. But the crazy thing is, which wasn't your question, is that now the show and really the idea about doing the podcast now was based on, and it's funny, we talked about it in like a true crime way. I said, I want to do the podcast like it's a true crime. And the question is this: why is this show now that we haven't shot in 7 years? Why is it bigger now?
Yeah. Why
on the air? And why is it now not just bigger than that? It's the it's the most watched show in television right now. Like new shows, the Stranger Things, all the like hot new stuff. More people are consuming and watching the show now. And so it's like, why?
What's the answer
is I don't really know. But I think that at least the smartest thing that I figured out is that when we were on set, this was early on when we were struggling. There was some stat that kept going around, and I don't remember what the number was, but it was something like 200 million people in America work in an office. So if we can get 10% of those people to watch, or 5% of those people to watch, like we're good, like we're great.
Yeah.
And I think that what we didn't realize was at the time and through today, that we were building a show, sure, that was about that, but the parallel between an unreasonable boss who makes you do unreasonable things with a group of people that you're not choosing to be with, how well that translates to an unreasonable teacher who makes you do unreasonable assignments, sitting next to people you may not choose to sit next to for year after year after year after year, and how the archetypes of the characters are so universal that sort of shared experience of being a group of people against an unreasonable authority figure, how well that translates. And I think really that's the smartest answer for, I think, because now it's like 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds. You brought up I mean, I'm talking to 12-year-olds now, and it's like, why are you watching sexual harassment episode? That is definitely not. When the blow-up doll comes in, you should not. Where are your parents?
I'm going to tell you why I think it's so successful as a viewer and incredible supporter is because you guys say what we're now not allowed to say in any situation. And I used to work in human resources, which I had zero business working in human resources. I would get drunk on my lunch break. But it's this idea that you can't do those things, but you guys would do them. And so, and also like breaking that. I'm in TV and is it the fourth wall? I don't know what wall it is. Any wall that you broke and being able to look into the camera and have those testimonial moments and say all the things, like that's just the hilarity for me is doing and saying things that we're not supposed to be saying or doing.
Yeah. Well, Charissa, the really, I mean, this boggles to talk exactly about what you're talking about, like how crazy society and the world has become. And even then, you know, and by the way, this is all positive. Don't cancel me here. But we eventually had to do sexual harassment seminars, right? Like at NBC Universal, we were required to do sexual harassment seminars.
As a cast? The whole cast?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Were you guys in character?
As a crew, as a whole. No, everyone to do. And it was like, 90 minutes, 2 hours. And it was once a year. We had to do the thing, sit there and sign in and all the stuff. And no joke, the HR reps, which maybe it was you, who came in and they showed the videos. They were showing videos from our show about
with the red-haired girl? The red-haired girl?
Yes. They're showing us videos of what we can't do.
Amazing.
And it's like, what? And no one would say like, okay, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think you're right. I think that Steve and I had kind of a long conversation about this, and there's been a lot of talk about, could this show happen today? Could it not happen today? I think that at its core, what made me incredibly proud of the show was that we were saying things that were inappropriate, but we were making, by the looks to the camera, we were making fun of those things.
By saying nothing, literally saying nothing, just the look.
Just a look. I mean,
how many times did you guys wet your pants looking at the camera? Because when you guys do that, I pee my pants. Like, it is fucking hilarious when you guys just do the glance. Die for it.
Well, now the problem is me not doing it on other things that I'm working on because it's so perfect. I know it is like, it is the stop the scene joke. Like it can be that. Yeah, I mean, we had so much fun. I mean, we truly had so much fun.
It just dawned on me that that's, while you're saying that, is that look to the audience, the viewer at home, is like, you're in on this joke. And that's what makes you feel like you're part of the show, because you're like, I get it. I'm with you. Even if no one else in this room or this office gets it, I get you, Kevin. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Wait, I need you to say something how you would say Kevin. So let's pretend we're in a HR seminar class. Okay, I'm the HR representative.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to ask you, Brian, but you can say it in Kevin's voice. Brian, have you showed up to work today drinking any alcohol?
What do you mean by alcohol?
It was reported by someone on the staff, one of your coworkers, that your breath smelled of alcohol. Have you had anything to drink today, Brian?
No, that was something else.
Okay. Well, you're fired.
Shoot.
Pack your stuff.
I don't know. That was an improv. We just did an improv.
Holy crap, Charissa. Great acting. Calm Down with Erin and Charissa is a production of iHeartRadio.
For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.